All right, welcome to the Invisible to Empowered. I'm sharing my screen, but this isn't looking like how I want to look. Okay, so welcome to the Invisible to Empowered workshop. I am so excited that you guys are here. I just feel so honored, and I'm really looking forward to sharing what we've got going on tonight. So when I originally made this workshop, it was 3 steps. But because I'm me and I like to do things really neat and I can't just leave things be, I created it to be 12 steps. We're not going to go into detail through all 12 of them, but these are the 12 steps that will absolutely create that map, that whole map of feeling invisible to absolutely having your life change and feeling empowered. Or as my husband says, he's like, you put a magic spell on me. You drive me crazy now. And it's because I'm just so empowered that it's like, I don't need, I love you, but I don't need you. It's like when you're in that space that you can just hold your own space. Ooh, boys will get all revved up. So that's just one aspect of the invisible to empowered aspect. So, okay, Sarah, that's no problem. Thank you. I'm excited that you're here. No worries. But if at the end, if you have any questions, Sarah, she's not able to do the chat because she's on her phone and she can't do the video and all that kind of stuff as well as on the phone. And then for those of you on the phone, there might be a few of you, it's absolutely at the end of the call, we can figure out how to raise your hand, and I can make sure that any questions or anything are going to be answered. Okay, awesome. Okay, let's do this. I'm really excited. And if you don't have a piece of paper and a pen, I'm going to be throwing a lot at you tonight in hopefully about 45 minutes to an hour. And then however long I need to stay on to answer questions or to do any sort of feedback or anything like that, I will stay on as long as necessary or until my kids wake up. if they do. All right. So what is my story? Where do I come from to share this invisible to empowered aspect workshop with you? My story is much like many other moms, except for I kind of went off the beaten path. I did everything that nobody wanted me to do. I had a midwife for my first birth. I had him at home. For my second birth, I birthed her unassisted in a travel trailer, and then we moved off grid 3 days later. I very much love the self-sustainable lifestyle, and I've had to realize that life is messy. Just because I'm a natural hippie, self-sustaining eco mama doesn't mean that sometimes I eat refried beans out of the can, right? So compromise and allowing myself to be in whatever the moment is showing up as. And so I decided to stop working when I had my daughter. And she turned 2, and I thought, I'm going to get back into massage therapy and start working with moms exclusively. And it turns out that I created the Magical Mothering mentorship and Magical Mothering business. It was completely by accident. I actually was just trying to get my massage business back going. And all of a sudden I got downloaded these amazing aspects to share with other moms. And I couldn't hold them in. I had to share them. And so here I am 2 years later with the Facebook group and doing workshops as often as I possibly can. And I'm mentoring women, and life is nothing like I could have ever possibly imagined. But the steps that I am going to share with you tonight, the exact steps, I won't be giving all the details out because that's an entire year-long program, but I will be sharing the 12 steps. And, you know, information is everywhere. We are in the information age. It took me 5 years to learn all of these steps through various aspects and things like that. So, you can find this information out, but I want you to have the basics. I want you to be able to take these 12 steps, see what you are working with, and then go out and seek other resources to learn. And if you want resources from me or from other people, please just ask. There's so many amazing women who are willing and wanting to help create this new paradigm of mothering, where it's more fun, it's more joyful, and it's easier, it's more magical. So, what does an empowered life look like to you specifically? What does it look like to you? So that's really what I would love it if you're willing to, this is the time to put in the chat box. What does empowered look like in your life specifically? Does anybody, I would love to hear and share. And so I just shared a little bit, like my empowered life. I had no idea that there was the level of confidence and the passion and romance in my marriage and the fun that I can have with my kids. So an empowered life, what does that look like to you? Is anybody brave enough? Or are you chatting? Are you typing away? Fast fingers. Fast fingers. So empowerment is all about, for me specifically, empowerment feels good. I like the word confident. Yeah, when I'm having a really good mothering moment, I feel more and more empowered. Yes, confident. I love that. Confident, or just knowing who you are. Authenticity kind of comes into play, right? When you're really empowered, you can be authentic and you're like, I don't care what anybody thinks. I am me and I love it, right? So we've got confidence, authenticity, creating and holding the space. So really being like, I heard in the Waldorf world, it's an educational model. In the Waldorf world, they talk about mothers being the hearth keepers. Now, back 150 years ago, the women actually kept the fire going. Now, the fire, or the hearth of the home, was this giant wall. It was an entire wall of fire. And they did all their cooking. They boiled water to clean. I mean, everything, all the meals, the table was right in front of the hearth. It was like the hearth was the hub of the home. And when we're empowered, we really step into that space of being that hearth keeper. We keep the fire going. We keep the passion going. We keep the fun, the food, the rhythm. Everything flows through and out of us. Yeah, Erin just said her husband once told her she could build a fire underwater. So you have that hearth keeper aspect where you just you're tending to what needs to be done. So we're going to jump right into the aspects. So the first one is rhythm. Rhythm, rhythm, rhythm. What is rhythm? Rhythm is the flow of our life. The earth is in a rhythm. The earth takes 365 days to go around the sun. The moon cycles around the sun in a rhythm. The seasons flow in a rhythm. You know, you don't have spring and then go to fall. There's a rhythm. There's a flow that happens. And so with rhythm, there's three aspects to rhythm. You have your daily rhythm, and those are broken down into the pillars of the day. Okay, so with your daily rhythm, you absolutely need these 5 pillars every single day. And if you're not getting these 5 pillars, you know what? You're probably feeling burnt out. You're feeling like you don't have passion. You're feeling like you're lost. You're feeling invisible. Okay, so the 5 pillars, I'm going to give them to you right now. Eating, everybody's got to eat, and eating when you're hungry, not going, oh, it's not dinner time yet, so I'm not going to eat, right? So getting into that flow of when are you hungry? When does it need to happen? I love writing down for a week what all I'm doing each and every day. And then I've got a really clear outline of what my rhythm looks like, okay? So eating and having those be in a natural rhythm. Sleeping, I'm a big motto of lots of sleep for everybody. I encourage moms to get their 8 hours of sleep most nights. I encourage kids to get their 10 to 12 hours every night. And then playing. We need to play every single day. Every day we need to find an aspect or a way for us to play. And even if that's just doing dishes, feeling the water, kind of watching the bubbles come out of the little soap thing. I like to squeeze it and just watch the bubbles. I'm one of those, finding just a way to play and be present. And if you have little ones, it's even easier. Sit down and play with them. And then you have nature immersion, connecting with nature every single day. Every day finding a way. And I know that during this time of year, it is a little bit more difficult for those in the that are getting lots of snow and lots of cold. But even somebody in the Facebook group today posted their picture of their kids outside in the snow playing in Maine. And she was like, my kids haven't wanted to go out for weeks, but we finally went out and had a great day. So even if it's incorporating a houseplant, that was another suggestion for somebody that lived in the really cold climate, was bringing houseplants in and tending to them and loving them. So connecting with nature in whatever way possible. And barefoot. I suggest barefoot. The last one is being space. Now, I created this term because there wasn't really anything that being present, that sort of thing. But being space, it has a special intention. This could be done through meditation. I really like to use my being space while I'm with my kids. So in the morning when I'm waking up, I sit down and I just be. I don't do anything. Sometimes they ask me to be involved, and I am. Other times I'm just observing and being and allowing their energy to fuel me, to pull me into the present moment so that I've released all the other aspects that need to be done throughout the day. I allow for that being space to hold me. And I try to go back to that throughout the day. So those are the 5 pillars of the day. And then, so that's your daily rhythm. Your weekly rhythm is your meal plan, your activities, and your self-care. Erin only has 4. Okay. Eating, sleeping, playing, nature immersion or nature time, and being space. Playing, yes, we have to play every day. or we don't feel good. Yeah. Okay. So weekly rhythm is your meal plan, your activities, and your self-care, right? Your self-care could go into your daily rhythm, but for some that like the nature time and things like that help. So for me, when I was incorporating my self-care, I made sure to take a bath once a week, and I made it an hour-long bath. I do my meditation in there. I get centered for the week. And so don't make yourself go crazy with, oh, I've got to put a self-care ritual in every single day and then feel guilty because you don't. So put it into a weekly rhythm. Figure out a way that you can do one thing for you every week. And then with the 5 pillars, I'm going to tell you, if you have the 5 pillars and you only get a really good solid self-care night or day, you're going to feel the difference. You're going to feel it, and you're not going to feel so depleted. Seasonal rhythm is the third part of the rhythm, and that goes with the seasons, exactly what it means. So in winter, we need to realize that some people, you need to know what season you feel really good in. I am a fall, but towards summer, towards the end of summer, leading into fall, that transitional period, I really feel it, and I'm livin' and I'm woo! And so do you have a favorite season? If you could write that in, what is the season that you feel most alive during? And so that's where there's 8 seasonal festivals according to the Wheel of the Year, which is the Wheel of the Year goes back thousands of years, and it's what the Farmer's Almanac uses. It's what the pagan farmers used. It held together the flow, these festivals, and they just continuously go, right? So if you think of life as like, I like to think of life as a spiral rather than a circle, with like a beginning and an end. I'd rather see it as a spiral. And so every time you come back to a seasonal festival, you're coming back to a space of the sameness, and yet you're different. So you spiral through the Wheel of the Year, and you spiral and you grow bigger. And some years you're growing exponentially bigger, and some years you're just doing baby growth. And there's no right or wrong with that. But as you start following the seasons, you can see the growth and the development and the flow that it brings into your life. All right. Now we're at expectations. Expectations, we all have them. It's very much a part of our culture. Expectations are very prevalent. If you would like to say yes, that you have expectations, go ahead and say yes in the chat. If you would like to not have so many, say yes again. If you are going, well, expectations are good, I should expect people to do what I want them to do, right? Yeah. With expectations, we want our expectations to not be from a place of control. We want to release as many expectations as possible. And again, this is a flow. This comes and goes. I feel that throughout the year in the summertime, I can release so many more expectations. I can really open up to the growth and the openness. Do you ever feel this? Like where certain times of the year or certain times of the day, you can feel the openness where you're like, oh, anything goes. Yeah, we're good. I don't care. And then there's other times, talk about during our moon cycle or when we're menstruating, our expectations are way higher, right? Have you found this to be true? Have you found that there's certain times and energies and flows where your expectations kind of grow with or through the seasons and with the moon? So expectations, getting to a point where we can release. Yeah, surrender to the flow. That's a fish. Erin's putting in fish quotes. Vibes. Yes. So yeah, if you're able to step back, and awareness is a big part of expectations. Why do you have the expectations that you do? Are you having expectations because you're feeling really vulnerable? Are you expecting people to do things because you're not taking care of yourself? Delegating is very different than having expectations. Expectations are often not communicated, and that's where the trouble lies, right? Once we communicate our expectations, they don't have as much of a control aspect to them. You can allow for that person to decide yes or no whether they want to live up to those expectations. And we talked a little bit, this is number 5, is self-care. Okay, we've talked about how self-care needs to go into our rhythm, right? Self-care is the outward demonstration of our self-love. Don't you love that? So the self-love that we have for our own authentic being is demonstrated by our self-care practices and our self-care rituals that we've implemented. If you would like to put in the chat box something that you do for self-care, I know this is a big thing that I put up in the Facebook group, is hearing about people's self-care. Erin does yoga. So yoga and reading and nature, and I heard one of the gals, Art, she does coloring a lot, and it's so allowing our self-care to be a big part of our lives, because we want ourselves and those around us, when they see that we appreciate and take time for ourselves, then they can finally appreciate and acknowledge that we are worthy, whether or not we are worthy. Oh, playing music, yes. We can allow for ourselves to show others that we are worthy of self-care, because we are now taking it into our being to do self-care. Does that make sense? Does that flow make sense, where we have to start practicing self-care for the outside world to see that it's important to us? Otherwise, the outside world goes, oh, you don't take care of yourself. Why should I help you? Right? That's a big aspect. So self-care is not just this little nugget. Yes, inspiration. Yeah. So when we take the time to take care of ourselves, our children see that we are worthy. Our children begin to know and experience that, oh, if mommy takes care of herself, maybe this is something that I would like to do too. And then it's something that they have just are raised with. And if you have grown kids, they will start even seeing your self-care practices and going, wow, mom, you look great. You know, you're really taking care of yourself. I love that you're doing that. Okay. So the next one is emotional releasing. Feeling our feelings, feeling our feelers. And this, how often, I'm guilty, I'm going to say it first, I'm guilty. How often have you told your child to stop crying? How often have you told your child that it's not that big of a deal? I've done it. How often have you told someone else, right? Erin just said, are you bleeding? Then it's not a big deal, right? I mean, that was a huge thing that I grew up with. Like, stop feeling so much. And Lonice said, are you bleeding? Yeah. Stop crying. If you're not bleeding, stop crying. And for those of you with really highly sensitive children, this is really difficult because they feel everything so big all the time. Right? And so, but in order to acknowledge our children's feelings, we have to get in touch with our own feelings. We have to start feeling deeply, wholly. And this, I feel, is a huge part of my self-care practice. When I'm in the bathtub, part of my meditation is to go really deep, see if there's any feelings that I haven't been able to process through the week. Feelings of unworthiness, feelings of doubt, feelings of guilt, feelings of shame, all these feelings of just resentment or hurt. I go through and just really feel in my body. Today in the shower, I actually did it before this call because I really wanted to clear any energy that I had, and my lower back was hurting a little bit. And I know as a massage therapist that lower back pain is anger. And I went, okay, I've had a lot of anger going on today. What is going on with that? And I allowed it, and I went, I don't need to know why. I would just like it to move through my body. I want to feel it. I want to express it in whatever way, and then move down. And I just let the shower pull the anger out of my energy field, out of my body. And I actually visualized. This is an amazing visualization that you can do in the shower. So when you get in the shower, so financial stress for the lower back. When you get in the shower, and before you step in, set the intention that the shower, the actual water of the shower is going to clean not just your body, but your energy field, your aura, your energy field. And as you see the water cleaning and dissipating as it goes onto certain parts of your body, like I purposely put it on my lower back today, and just allowed it to shift and move all the energy. And as it flowed, I allowed it to flow down my body and down into the drain. And I asked the water to take it and to purify that energy again. Okay, so that's a really easy technique that you can do every time you're in the shower or in the bath, and have that intention that you're not just cleaning your body, but you're actually clearing and cleaning anybody else's energy that might have accidentally or purposely latched onto your energy. Number 7 is new. Oh, sorry, that was self-care. There's emotional release. I'm all slow. New tools. So we're at new tools, and I love this picture. This is my son when he was little, and he always used to cook because that's all I did. I just cooked all the time, and he would make these awesome little stews out in the yard. And I chose this picture because when we learn new tools, when we learn how to communicate better, when we learn how to control our own behavior better, when we learn self-control for ourselves, our children automatically learn these tools just through us using these tools with them, right? So we don't need to figure out how to stop our kids from behaving badly. We only need to stop ourselves from behaving badly or not in the way that we want them to behave. And the new tools that we use will then be incorporated into their lives easily, effortlessly, and seamlessly. When we have the tools to start changing what we're doing, then our kids automatically get pulled into that. Our husbands, our partners, our friends automatically get pulled into that. Just the way we communicate our wants, needs, desires, our children are going to hear that. And when we're whining and complaining and stomping our feet about things going on, our kids are much more likely to whine, complain, and stomp their feet because they're not getting what they want, right? So, but it does take learning some new communication tools, learning some new behavioral tools. And it's not good enough to read a book on nonviolent communication. It needs to be implemented. Yes. Yeah, no more screaming, and then practicing, implementing them over and over and over until these new tools are no longer new tools, but tools that you just have in your toolbox that you use all the time. Okay. And is there any questions? Is there any questions going on? Do you have any questions, concerns? Do you have anything that you go, that sounds great, but I have no idea what you're talking about? Is there anything you've missed so far? Please feel free to share in the chat box anything that's coming up for you that you would like to share. Okay. So here we're at our next step. And our next step is our soul's living our soul's calling. Now, what is your soul's calling? I really, truly, absolutely believe, especially after starting this business, that I didn't call a business for a long time because it didn't feel right until I actually realized that it is a business and I love it and that's what it is. But I realized when I created and was inspired to do the magical mothering, that it was such an integral part of my soul, and not doing it feels so awful. And so that's our soul's calling. It's something that we create, that we find, that we uncover. And a lot of times, if you look back at when you were a child, the essence of what you wanted to do when you grow up is most of the time the same essence of what you would like and your soul's calling is. So as a little girl, they said, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I said, a mommy. And I was always taking care of babies. I started babysitting at 10. I was a nanny all through middle school and high school and college. And then I had kids, and I realized that it's now evolving. So not only do I love being a mommy, but I also realized that as a magical mother, I'm to help other moms be magical mommies to their inner child. So this is how complex, you see how it's not just I want to be a mommy. As a kid, that's all I understood. I want to be a mommy. And now as an adult, I see how the essence of it has evolved into like this beautiful picture that only I can do authentically. So that's where you find, through journaling, through expressive creativity, through being space, through nature immersion, through play, this is how you find your own soul's calling. Okay? I'm always trying to, some of you on the call will know that I'm always trying to pull your soul's calling out of you. I'm like, oh my goodness, you have this piece and this piece and this piece, and only you could authentically put all those pieces together and create your own magic, right? So I'm always trying to discover people's soul's calling. But it is one of those things that you have to be ready for it, because it is a downloading spiritual awesomeness of beingness, okay? Yeah. Does that feel possible right now? Does your soul's calling, living your soul's calling, even feel possible for you? Does it feel so far away that it's like, oh man, I've got so much else to do? But yeah, far away. Okay. So, but getting the rhythm in place, getting your self-care in place, releasing your expectations. It feels far away sometimes. I know that it's been close for you at other times. All right. And then, so the next step, I'm still trying to figure out the details of what my soul's calling actually is. Yes. And sometimes, like, I didn't know the details of what magical mothering would have been 2 years ago to now. There's no way I could have ever fathomed this right now. Sharing a workshop, having a Facebook group with almost 1,000 people in it. Like, there's no way that I could have fathomed what my soul's calling was going to grow and evolve and transform to be, right? So sometimes we just need to step into the space of saying, I'm ready. I'm ready to live my soul's calling. And then to just hear those subtle voices, hear that small, still voice inside of our head, which we have to be in that being space often enough to hear. And have some good self-care rhythms and rituals of journaling and releasing so that we can clear out and make space. Yeah, tune into the vibration. Exactly, Lonice. Tuning into the vibration of our soul's calling and our authentic self, because oftentimes we're pushing and controlling and trying to keep everything from falling apart. That this vibration cannot download and hear the vibration of us just living, being our authentic selves. So next, we are going to being space. Now, in this being space, I mentioned it earlier, it's one of the pillars. And in being space, there's so many aspects of being. Be free, be in the flow, be present, be willing, allow. All of these aspects are part of just being space. I love when I first heard Wayne Dyer's quote of, the present moment is a gift. And I went, oh, I love that. A present gift. The present moment is called that because it's a gift. It's a present. It is a present. And when you see that the moment, the present moment truly is a gift, and it's truly the only moment that we have, then it allows us to see the magic of each moment, right? Because oftentimes while we're in stress, it's kind of in the moment, but not really. Like, there's always this ephemeral, ethereal, out in the, somewhere over there, like all the bills need to be paid. Yes, it could be true that in that exact moment your bill is due and you have to call, but that has a different feeling. It really does. When something is due in that moment and you're making the phone call to pay the bill, you're in action. You're being present to the fact that the bill is due and it needs to be paid. But when we have like financial stress over all the bills and all the money, we're not looking and we're not being in the present moment. We're not allowing for the gift of being in the flow to pull us and allow for the magic to happen in our lives. Let me know if that makes sense. Okay, a big, big one. You are the co-creator of your life. Now, this was a wild, outside of the box thought for me when I first came into this new age, metaphysical, even pagan. I came from a Christian religious background, and hearing that I was a co-creator, I went, okay, I can see that I co-create with God, with the choices that I make, and what kind of God has in store for me. I can see how I co-create just through my behavior and my actions. But then it was, it's really amazing when you start diving into the fact that you're a co-creator, you really start seeing that every thought, every action, every behavior, every choice that you make is creating the life that you either want or don't want. Mind-blowing. Because when you really think about it, you're like, how do I stop the madness? How do I stop this from creating more of what I don't want? And that's where, when you have the rhythm down, when you have the being space, when you're starting to be aware of your thoughts, your feelings. My dog is going crazy. And when you start realizing that every choice that you make, and this, when I was studying Waldorf education, and the man who created Waldorf education, his name was Rudolf Steiner. He was an esoteric philosopher, and he created a whole spiritual a cult called anthroposophy. And when I was reading his works on spiritual development, he had 8 exercises, one for each day of the week. But again, he said to start out with 1 for a whole week, and then go to the next one for a whole week. So he even knew the process of baby steps, of working yourself into a spiritual practice. And he went as far as to say, don't say anything until you are absolutely certain that that is what you want to say. And then it goes even further of don't think anything that you are not absolutely certain that you want to happen. Yeah, the baby steps, yes. So allowing yourself to not get so pulled in. I didn't say it when we were going over the pillars, but with the pillars, getting to a space where all 5 pillars are in your daily rhythm. So you already have eating. They might not be very regular, but you already eat and you already sleep. It's a matter of how much you're sleeping and what you're eating and how much you're eating, okay? So if you can just incorporate one new one, even if it's just eating and creating some rituals around eating, maybe lighting a candle, saying a prayer of gratitude, or eating things that make you feel better. And in sleeping, creating a really good bedtime ritual with some meditation or some meditative storytelling or something like that for yourself and your child. And then get those really, really, really solid, and then add in that you play every day. And that might just start coming in, because now that you are aware that playing is part of how you create magic and are in the flow, that might just start incorporating, or maybe just taking time to be outside or with nature every day. So allow these thoughts, these awarenesses, these new tools to flow into your life, where you're not going, oh my gosh, I have to put all of these into practice tomorrow. No, I mean, even the women that I work with one-on-one, these are now going to be taken over an entire year, because there's no need to rush. When we rush into creating a rhythm, when we rush into doing things, when you sign up for a 6-week course, how often do you actually incorporate the 6-week course fully into your life? It's really difficult. So I realized that I've been on this journey of adding these exact 12 steps into my life for 5 years now. If I can condense my 5 years into 1 year for somebody else, that in itself is magic. That saves you 4 years of pulling your hair out and going, what am I doing? Right? So that in itself, allowing that to feel good, allowing yourself the space to change, allowing yourself the ease to not feel guilty when you don't have everything implemented next week, right? Yeah. but just starting. So what's really neat is forgiveness is a big part of the empowerment process, because when we are holding grudges and resentments and blaming others, it is really hard to feel empowered, because you're giving your power away to somebody else. So yeah, Erin was saying allowing yourself space to change. Yeah. And that's what that, the co-creation, you realize you're a co-creator, but you're still going to allow. Yeah. Yeah. So no, I know I said it. So forgiveness is the next aspect. Forgiveness, because again, forgiveness and expectations are like this thin line that, think of it like thin ice, right? When you're holding grudges and resentments and you're not easy to forgive, which if you're interested in a forgiveness workshop, the Sacred Circle gathering that we actually did last night for the full moon had an amazing forgiveness exercise in it. So if you would like just a resource on forgiveness, Lonice was so good. If you want just a exercise on forgiveness, I can show you where to purchase that. But forgiveness, allowing ourselves the freedom and the peace to forgive. Okay? And here we are. That's me standing on a cliff in Hawaii. And yes, just that feeling of pure peace, looking at that water and being present to that, leads us to empowerment and leads us to actually the map of self-empowerment that we have then created. So I just want to invite you. I'm holding Invisible to Empowered mapping sessions, where we will actually go through these 12 steps, see what needs to be figured out, see what you have, see what's missing, and then we can really go through. But I have a form, and it's at magicalmothering.com/sign-up/. And I want you to fill out the form, and I'm going to be having to choose just a limited number of people. So if this is something that you really feel would benefit you, please fill out the form. And then I will be choosing just a few, because I really want this time to be so valuable for you. I want to go through and really create your specific map. What are your specific tools? What does your specific map look like for empowerment? So if that's something that resonates with you and you'd like this free session to actually create your special map, you can just go to magicalmothering.com and go to the sign up, and then I will put the link in here as well. magicalmothering.com, sign up. For those of you that want to just click on it, can. And I'm just so excited. I'm so honored. I do feel so incredibly blessed to be able to be in this space with you, to share, to connect. And so now's the time. I actually ended almost on time, even though I added 9 extra steps. So I would love to hear any comments you have. If you have any questions about any of these specific steps, Sarah and Roberta, and then we have somebody on the phone. If you're on the phone, and you have any questions, I'm wondering how to do that. I'm not sure. So what we'll do is if you're on the phone and you have questions, I will be in the Facebook group after this. If you want to write any questions or comments or anything like that in the Facebook group, I'll put a little post for workshop kind of after talk. Yeah, Erin was saying it sounds so simple. I really like the idea of choosing one step at a time to work on. And that's all we ever should do. That's all that we ever really actually need to do, is just create one step at a time. And it is so simple, and yet a big part of the mapping session is getting the support to really see where you don't follow through, right? So in the mapping session, we're going to go through what do you have in place, and then where do you seem to feel like it doesn't click, or where do you feel that when you're going through all of these steps that are very simple, but are very, transformational and healing, when you're going through the steps, where do you seem to fall off of your map? Where do you tend to wander? And that's really crucial in your awareness, because a lot of times as moms, new on the journey, or as a mom or as a grandmother even, oftentimes we set our intentions, and yet because we lack the support, we detour and we wander over here in the wilderness and forget that we have a beautiful map that we can just go straight to. But that's a dance that we are on as well. So if anybody has any questions or comments, and this will have a recording. So if anybody missed any of the steps or is interested in just going through and writing these things down or listening to anything again, I will put the recording up. That way you guys have that to focus on. All right. So if nobody has any questions, I'm really excited for those of you on the call to go to the sign up. And please sign up. I would love to have you put your ballot in to get one of these free mapping empowerment sessions. I would really, really love to do that. So I'm just going to be doing luck of the draw. So get your name in quick before all of the other replay webinar people get to watch this, and that way you've got yours right there, and I can start getting you guys appointments and things like that to talk. So Lonice is saying, I'm excited to really open my awareness to this. I already see that I have work to do in each step. Yeah, and you know what, Lonice? I've been doing these steps for 5 years, and I still have work to do in each of the steps. So just because, again, it's that wheel of the year, it's the spiral of our life. Every time we revisit one of these aspects, we can go deeper and grow and nourish. And so knowing that, having that awareness that there is still work to be done in each step is fantastic. Because when do we ever want to stop growing and healing and evolving and creating our magical life? What one of us is like, I'm done. I want to stay right where I am right now. I'm good. I don't want to move. No, I'm good. I want to be right here, right? Right. So, realizing that this is a flow, this is something that is ever evolving, ever changing. And when we learn new aspects of them, like new tools, we can forever, for the rest of our lives, learn new tools. And it's a matter of learning some more of the basic tools so that we can build upon those to get new, bigger tools, power tools, right? We're right now working with hammers and screwdrivers. And hopefully by next year, we're, maybe get a power drill, but maybe not. Maybe that'll be the next year or 5 years. And so allowing ourselves the gift to just be present to what is, and allowing ourselves to see that each of these is a beautiful unfoldment with so much potential. And my way that I show and guide and mentor is just one way. And there are so many ways, but I do ask that you choose a way to start growing and evolving and healing and transforming for real this year. So that at next December, when I post, on the Facebook group or something, hey, we're doing our 12 steps and we're going to see where we all are, and that you're not in the exact same place going, oh, what happened to those baby steps? That's all I had to do. You know what I mean? And then not so that it's a guilt thing, but I really want you to succeed. I want you to create your magical life. And I sit back and watch you guys going, man, why isn't this working? It does take some work. It does take some effort. It does take commitment, practice, the awareness and the want and the desire to change and to heal and to transform your home into one that is filled with more potential and more unknowing potential, right? Where it's not just cookie cutter, right? It's us living so authentically that we're going, wow, I don't know what's coming next. Like, I really have no what's in store for me, and allowing that magic, the adventure. Yes. Yeah. And Lonice was saying, and not only to teach our children, but to inspire and empower each other, right? On this journey, it's not a solo journey. And we're not only dancing with our children, we're dancing with all of humanity and every creature and being on the earth. And so to feel that and know that it's a flow, and what I am pouring out and giving and creating in my life is then affecting all of humanity, right? That's powerful, magical stuff. And you're part of it. So if there's no more questions, then we'll sign off for tonight. But this was so fun. I'm so grateful for the interaction and the play that was able to happen. And I'm just so blessed and fortunate to have each of you amazing, magical women in my life. And you're so welcome. You're so welcome. So swimming in gratitude. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Niece and Sarah, and then we had a phone caller, and I'm just so grateful. So if you want to pop over, I'm going to be working on getting the recording up and going. Love to all of you guys from Lonice. And I just really appreciate you stepping into this space and holding this space with me. So I now let you go, and I release you to your own divine wisdom, that you know exactly where and who and be in this moment. So I now give you back all of your power, and I thank you for entrusting that with me, to know exactly what your next step and your direction is. So, and I would love to support you in creating your map. So go over to magicalmothering.com/signup/ and enter in your form to be selected as one of the people that I will get to map out a invisible to empowered session with. All right. Peace and blessings to each and every one of you, and have such a magical day.